are the main features? And they are cells and the matrix, what are the functions and classification, main type of the matrix fiber synthesis. There could be large number of objectives. Now let us very briefly go to that to deal with each and every objective. For example, location. You find the very typical diagram showing you the lower limb where the muscles are there and the other tendon. Now here is the tendon of the ligament and bone itself is here. So you find this is one type of connective tissue, another one connective tissue, different kind of connective tissue. Even the muscle is covered with the connective tissue. So you find that the connective tissue is very much permeated everywhere in different kind of the organ and the system. For example, cut a section and whatever you find in the blue and green, it is all connective tissue element, which is providing support as well as segregation. Likewise, you see the other format of the connective tissue, maybe form of the bone, maybe form of the adipose tissue, or maybe the hemolymphoid organ. Even the fat and the cartilage, they are all connective tissue. But as you know, they are going to support even, for example, a secretory unit. You see the all greenish area and the red area, they are all representing the connective tissue element. Even they provide support at a cellular level. For example, here are the one cell, another cell, they are all supported by fine fiber. They are called the reticular fiber. So this is part of the connective tissue. So whatever is in between the cell, it is extracellular matrix. Now, features of the connective tissue. There are cells and there is extracellular matrix. For example, if you look at the epithelial tissue, you classify the epithelial tissue based on their cell. What is their shape, how they are oriented, how many layers are there. But not here. Here you focus mainly on the extracellular substance. So now look at the composition of the connective tissue. It has got the cells and the matrix. Cells, they are few and far apart. Second, that extracellular matrix is prominent, and this is from the basis of classification of the connective tissue. So that's how you go about the classification. You classify the connective tissue as a structural connective tissue and a defensive. Most of the time, you don't focus on this one. You focus only on the general or structural type of the connective tissue. Now, structural connective tissue, they are further classified under general and the special. General also called ordinary connective tissue. Special are the skeletal type of the connective tissue. Now, general further subclassified into irregular, regular, and the mucoid type of the connective tissue. Irregular means where the matrix has got the fibers, they are irregularly arranged and they are loosely packed. So it becomes the loose irregular tissue. If they are densely packed and still they are irregular, remember dense irregular. If a different kind of the cells, for example, adipocytes are there, adipose tissue, white adipose tissue and the brown adipose tissue. Then the regular connective tissue means where the fibers are regularly arranged. You can see the direction, they are running in a particular direction. That's what we call as dense regular type of the connective tissue. Mucoid connective tissue, this is described as the embryonic type of the connective tissue. And they are found in embryonic, for example, water and jelly along the umbilical cord, in the vitreous of the eyeball, in the nucleus pulposus of intervertebral disc, or in the pulp of the tooth. They are the representation of the mucoid type of the connective tissue, just like jelly. So that is the classification. Now come to the type of the cells. The cells are also of different types, and they can be classified as resident cells or migrant cells. Resident, which are always there. For example, fibroblasts and fibrocytes. Adipocytes, which store fat, and mesenchymal stem cells, which can differentiate into adipocytes or fibroblasts. And they are responsible for secretion or production of those fibers or matrix. But there are other cells, they come and go depending upon their requirement, and they are called migrant cells. They are macrophages for protective mechanism, the mast cells, the lymphocytes, and granulocytes. You are aware about these cells. So these cells are there, they come and go. Then the number of the cells of the specialized connective tissue, you are aware, the skeletal one, chondroblast, and the osteoblast and the osteoclast. In the matrix, whatever lies in between the cell, that is called the extracellular matrix. The matrix can be fibrillar or amorphous. Means you can find out some fibers in the in between the cells, or the one which is very much amorphous has no particular shape. So if they acquire a shape, they are described as the fibers, and they can be collagen fiber, reticulum fiber, elastin fiber. The matrix, which is amorphous, also called ground substance, which is normally one try to something like it is ignored from the view. Okay, only fibers are usually commonly they attract your attention when you look at the section, and they consist of all these components. So features of the connective tissue, if you want to know, they are that if you look at the type of the cell, they are numerous depending upon whether the resident or migrant, derived from the mesoderm. The cytoskeleton means the like body has got a skeletal system, what's called endoskeleton. Likewise, each and every cell has got a skeletal system to maintain its shape and size. So that is called cytoskeleton, and in that case, in case of the connective tissue, it is called desmin. Then the blood supply is variable depending upon we are dealing with the bone, general connective tissue, or cartilage. Nerve supply is okay. Okay means reasonably it is there. It is not very sensitive, but it is sensitive. Regeneration is variable depending upon what you deal with the cartilage or the bone. Functions are so many, variable. It provides, it connect, protect, supports, and segregation, store, heal. So we can focus each and every one that which one provides what kind of the function. And one structure provides many functions as well. And it is affected by the fibers are usually and the cells are affected by stress and pull. Means depending upon the direction of the pull, the fibers are also oriented accordingly. Steroids, you know the term, and once they are given or they are more, they inhibit the formation of the fibers. While vitamin C they promote. So depending upon what you require, one give the supplementary substance. There are some applied aspects, there are multiple, rheumatoid arthritis, other. Then let us look at the simplified version, a diagrammatic plan of the general connective tissue. Here what you find that in the background gray material is there. That is called the ground substance. But apart from the cell, you find some fibers. That is also part of the matrix. It is the fibrillar part of the matrix. And the fibers can be very thick, maybe, or maybe branched one, very thin, smooth running. Okay. And there could be multiple cells. Some cells, for example, they are freely, they can move. They are called migrant type of the cell. They are called fixed one, like fibroblast. It looks like as if fibroblast is clinging on the fibers, but in fact, these cells are responsible for the secretion of these fibers. They are called fibroblasts. If they are secreting reticulum fibers, they are called reticulocytes. Okay, or reticular cells. The term is a little bit confusing because it is also used in many other places. The fat cells are there, which is responsible for the storage of the fat. So that is the kind of general plan that you have the cell and the matrix cells, varieties of the cells, migrant and the resident and the migrant, and the matrix which is fibrillar and non-fibrillar. Non-fibrillar means it is called ground substance. So please do not mistake with the matrix and the ground substance same. No. The ground substance is which is amorphous, while which has taken some form, which is called the fibrillar form. If you want to see, you tease the mesentery. It is called the whole mount preparation. Then you can see the cell. Sorry. One can see the fibers which are maybe in the background. They are collagen fiber. These are the elastic fibers. the fiber. Reticular fiber, they are not seen. Now in section, how they look like, for example, they represent in the cells, these are the fibers, collagen fibers. Collagen fibers, they are stained. Likewise, if you take, for example, skin, the epidermis is there, there is special stain to for the collagen. You can see the collagen fibers, they are arranged in a very irregular manner, but densely packed. So this is example of dense, irregular connective tissue, means the dermis. Now here is another situation where you have the dense, regular connective tissue. It is a section from the tendon, and one can see the fibers, particular direction, linearly arranged. This dark structure that is representing the nucleus. In between the two, it is representing the fiber. If you take a cross section of this, it appears like that. And in higher magnification, you can see the fiber, collagen fiber. And this collagen fiber is closely associated with the fibroblast. That is the fibroblast, for example, here there are multiple with the low power magnification. In higher one, you can see the collagen fiber. This is fibroblast, and this is the collagen fiber. We'll come to know the details of the collagen fiber. Now, types of the collagen fibers. Based on the morphology, amino acid composition, and physical properties, there are over 24 of the collagen. And they constitute about large amount of the body weight. In the collagen itself, 90% of the collagen belongs to type 1, type 2, type 3, and type 4. So therefore, you have to particularly focus at this undergraduate level only on these 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, collagen type 1 is number 1. Number 1 in the cells that it is very much abundant. It is found in the skin, it is found in the bone, tendon, ligament. So now you can imagine that what is the extent of this one. And they are also there in the vessels, vessel walls, small intestine wall, everywhere they are there. But collagen type 2, that is found in the hyaline cartilage and intervertebral disc. In the, what you have the collagen type 3, it is what you say, collagen type 2, it is in the hyaline cartilage and also in the myopathic type of the connective tissue, not intervertebral disc. It is the kind of the gives example intervertebral disc for the fibrocartilage. Then the collagen type 3, it is found in the hemolymphoid organ. Interestingly, this collagen type 3, since it has got some specific kind of the property, staining property also, and very fine fibers, so it was earlier considered known as reticulum fiber. But it is collagen type 3. Collagen type 4, it is found in the basement membrane. As you find, all the epithelial cells, they lie on basement membrane. So it is form of the collagen type 4. There are whole detail of the basement membrane itself, but for general awareness, that collagen type 4 is found in the basement membrane. Now, mesenchyme cells look like that, for example, here, and all around, you don't have much fiber, very jelly-like substance. But once it produces the fiber, then you find the fibroblast, nucleus, the cytoplasm is here, and it is a low magnification electron microscope. Here is the collagen fiber, and in that one, the fibrils are there. So a small section is showing high magnification of the collagen fiber, having these collagen fibrils. And collagen fibrils are what? They are the subunit of the collagen fibers. Now, if you look at the fibroblast, what it does? It is responsible for the synthesis and secretion of the collagen molecules, and they aggregate to form the collagen fibril, and then the collagen fibers, and then the fascicles. So, as you can see, for the amino acid is taken up, and once they are passed through that of the rough endoplasmic reticulum, they are going to synthesize the fibers. But when they pass through the Golgi material, Golgi body, and they are going to synthesize the ground substance. So both components are this way produced by the fibroblast itself. So amino acid is taken up, It is from the polypeptide, then the procollagen, then the procollagen molecules. Means there is one polypeptide, then there are three in chain, then they are twisted together, and then it comes out, and then the terminals are removed. So part of it is inside the cell, intracellular, and partly extracellular. It's taken out, and then it is called the tropocollagen. Tropocollagen is actually the collagen molecule, and it is a kind of triple helix, right-handed triple helix. डॉक्टर इमरान साहब हैं बोलो बोलो जल्दी सर वहाँ चला गया था तो बताए
आवाज तो आ रही थी
क्या आ गया है
तो खुला तो हुआ है
कहाँ से
शेयर चला गया आपका
अच्छा
शेयर कर दिए आवाज सर आपकी आ रही है आप
हाँ
ऑर्डर स्क्रीन शेयर हो गया सर आपको दिखे आगे सर सब
पता
अच्छा
क्या है okay so single collagen molecule is right-handed this is a triple helix and it is its size is like 300 nanometer and the diameter is 1.5 nanometer. So it is arranged in such a way that it gives what we call, because of the very symmetrical arrangement, it gives a crystalline character. We will come to that. So if you look at the collagen fiber, for example, its whole thickness is representing a collagen fiber, and its subunits which cannot be seen under the light microscope, but it can be seen in the electron microscope. These are subunits, and they are constituted with the collagen fibril. And you see each and every fibril, it shows the repeated bending pattern at the interval of 68 nanometer. So this bending character is seen. Under electron microscope. Now recently it is also has been seen that this bending pattern can also be picked up on the surface by what called as atomic force microscope, AFM. And you can see the bending pattern looking like as a platform. And it is a surface reflection. It is not actually the transmission electron microscopy, but it is a surface reflection, just like scanning electron microscopy, but at higher magnification. For example, here it is 65,000 times. Now, if you look at the arrangement, this is a precursor, the polypeptide, then we have 3 alpha chains, they are twisted together and the terminals removed. Then we call as the collagen molecule, a tropocollagen. These tropocollagen, they are arranged in a linear fashion with leaving some gap, and there are multiple rows. But in between the molecule, there are gaps. These gaps, they are actually filled with the heavy metals in electron microscopy. And they are responsible for giving this banding pattern. And this banding pattern, what is the significance? So we have the collagen fiber that you can see under a light microscope without any problem, because they are in micrometer. The collagen fibrils, they are in nanometer, so therefore they can be seen only on the TEM and the AFM. While collagen molecule, they are further small, and you see, they are only showing you, they are called they have the right-handed triple helix of the 3 alpha chains of the collagen molecules, in the collagen molecules. So the binding pattern of the fibril subunit structure, especially the size, it shows what? It shows the size, shape of the collagen molecule and arrangement of the collagen molecule that form the fibril itself. So therefore, if we want to know the change in the collagen fiber, one has to go up to that level to say that what is the problem in the collagen fiber. Having said that, all collagen is not in form of the fibril and the fibers. They can be in form of sheet and meshwork. They can be anchoring or the linking role. They have transmembrane. So, for example, the numbers indicate the collagen type 1, 2, 3, 4. They are found in the fibril form. In the sheet form, these. In anchoring form, these. And transmembrane protein. Now, the collagen fiber, the collagen is used for what? The features are they are white, they are thick bundle, and they resist tension. Means you cannot stretch them. Very easy, not easy. They are commonly stained with hematoxin UC. They can be seen under the light microscope. The banding is only seen in the electron microscope and also the AFM. And on hydrolysis, they give gelatin. Gelatin is produced from the skin of the animal skin, the bone and intestine. And as you know, the gelatin is used for multiple purposes, for example, food, pharmaceutics, photography, and cosmetics. So therefore, for so when entire structure is concerned, you have to go up to that of the tropocollagen or collagen molecule, and you have to show that they have some inner arrangement, and they are arranged in such a way that the gap between the two molecules are in such a fashion that they can be actually revealed by the electron microscope in form of the binding pattern. They can also be put on the surface by the timing force microscope. Now come the reticulum fibers. Reticulum fibers produced by the reticular cells. As such, there is no difference between the fibroblast and reticular cells, but it is called also the fibroblastic reticular cells because they are going to synthesize the reticulum fibers. And that is where the reticulum fibers are found, these cells are there. So therefore, they are named accordingly. So this reticulum fiber, for example, this is the liver section, but you can see each cell is surrounded by, you see the fine fibers. They are called the reticular fiber. They are fine. There is also collagen 3. So reticulum is not something very special. Special has some feature, but otherwise they are also collagen. So they are called collagen type 3. They have the branch and anastomose, and they have affinity to silver salts. So they can be stained with the silver salts. Right. Therefore, they can easily be seen. There is no banding under the electron microscope, and they are found in hemolymphatic tissue and the gland. Means where there are tissue is very deep, delicate, cells are numerous, and they have some internal specific organization. So to maintain that, the reticulum fibers they come into play. For example, for the liver or the lymph node, as you can see the fibers at the cellular level, at a very small unit level, these fibers are seen. They are called the reticulum fiber. The third is the elastin fiber. Elastin fiber, they are also found in the form of the sheets. For example, in the case of the blood vessels, one has got the sheets. They can be perforated also. With special stain, you can see large number of elastin fibers or elastic sheets around the aorta, and based on that, they are called elastic arteries. You know, the large arteries where the blood is pumped directly into by the heart, they need to expand during the systole, otherwise they will burst or the heart will fail. So therefore, they allow the blood to be pumped into the large arteries. Large arteries are also called elastic arteries because of the presence of elastic fiber. There are many places when you can see the elastic. For example, in the elastic cartilage, in the skin. For example, if you pinch the skin and try to leave, it will come down. It is because of the elasticity. So elastic fibers are there, they require special training. They have branching fibers. They form the discontinuous sheet. And better seen in pieced preparation, the elastic fiber. And this is a composite structure. Hello. There is no banding, and they calcify with age. There are multiple stages that are used for life microscopy for the connective tissues. Now the elastic fibers resist tension. Collagen fiber they resist tension, where elastic fiber provides some certain amount of the elasticity, and that is responsible for required recovery, rebound, any terms you can use for that, depending upon where you are dealing with. Then they are stained with the porcine, and they are found in the skin. Ligament of phlegm. Phlegm means the yellow color, as you know. Ligament of Lugli, neck. Ligament of phlegm is there between the lamellae. Lungs is also shows stretching capacity, urinary bladder, blood vessels. Wherever stretching is required, the elastic fibers will be there. I'm not sure if somebody has actually switched on the video. Yeah, some background noise is coming, and that's the problem it is coming. So the elastic fibers, they are the composite structure. Number one, they consist of tropoelastin, just like a tropocollagen, and that form into elastin. But this elastin is actually a structural protein, and it is amorphous. And then we have the fibrillin, which form the elastic. Both of them, they are put together, they form the elastic fiber. So for example, here is the elastin. Here is the elastin, and surrounding it, you have the fine fibrous structure. This is called the microfibrils or fibrillin around it. That constitutes the elastic fiber or elastin. So we have the elastic fiber consists of both elastin and the fibrillin. And the surrounding, they are the fibrils of the collagen fibers. They are the fibrils and they are the microfibrils. You can see the size. Fibrils, microfibrils. This is a diagrammatic or non-schematic one to show what we mean by elastic fiber. So we have the elastin, which is amorphous, and the fibrillin, the microfibrils, are arranged around it, thereby forming the elastic fiber. This is a composite structure as compared to that of the collagen. And stretchability is based on this one. There is cross link between the molecules, and they provide the stretching. If it is straight, it becomes straight, otherwise it becomes coiled. So we can, depending upon the time, we can have say that this intermission or thank you, it is on. What you need to know, you remember that how this connective tissue differs from the other tissue. What are the main types of the cells? And then you have to very clearly remember that there are two types of the cells. One is the resident, another is migrant. Among the resident, it is the fibroblast which predominates. Whatever cells are there, they are responsible for synthesis, secretion, and maintenance of the intercellular matrix. And matrix means both fibers as well as the ground substance. This matrix can be fibrillar or amorphous. So please don't take as a synonym as the ground substance and the matrix or the fiber the same thing. No, matrix should be very clear. Then second thing we should remember that the classification of the connective tissue is based on the extracellular matrix, not based on the cells. And that is also depending upon how the fibers are packed, what is their direction and density. It's regular and irregular. Then we need to go on the details of the fibers. And details of the fibers show that each fiber which you can see under the light microscope, it has got some subunits. They are called the fibres, collagen fibres. These fibres are further made up of subunit, and that is called the collagen molecules. So up to have to tease up to that level. These collagen molecules are in linear fashion, and then subsequently to the fibril, then the fiber, and then the fascicles, gradually increasing size of the bundle. So collagen fibers you can see. Now the collagen fibers differ from the other one in the sense that they cannot stretch them, but under the electron microscopy, one can see the banding pattern, not in other type of the fibers. While the elastic fibers, they consist of composite structure, fibril and elastin. While reticular fibers, they are particularly found in the hemolymphoid organ, and they are argentophilic, means they are very much have affinity with that of the silver size, so they can be stained with that. So I think that will be enough. Thank you.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
सर प्लीज इट विल बी अ ग्रेट फेवर अगर आप ये पीपीटी शेयर कर दें किसी भी मीडियम से।
हाँ, उस पर डाल देंगे अपने डिपार्टमेंटल वेबसाइट पर।
ओके, थैंक यू सर, इट विल बी ग्रेट फेवर।
ओके, थैंक यू।
थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू।